Alrighty, here we are with the first round, and it looks like we have what you call a synergy hand. Snakes, ballistas, this is certainly a keep with 2 lands, and I mean these are like cards that work well together based around +1/+1 counters. Alright, so our opponent is going down to 6. Which we certainly like to see. Alright. And ephemeral. So, ephemeral generally means blue-red control. And, of course, wandering ephemeral means this deck. Like, emerge zombos. Alright, so we'll just play our snake. Haven't found a land yet, which would be nice. And our opponent appears to have a good hand as well. Okay, Fevered Visions. Alright, that's really bad we didn't hit a land there. So snake or Grimflare. I think just snake, based on our hand. We want to do as much damage as possible, and we're probably going to find a land in 2 draw steps. Yep. So now we can Nissa or Ballista. Alright, so Sweltering Suns would be an issue. I mean, I don't know if they play Sweltering Suns. Alright. Cathartic. Let's get Cathartic in here. Let's get Cathartic in. Ha! Alright, his in Quagmire isn't that great. So we're probably just Nissing and plussing at the moment. Even though our snake is probably going to die. That sets us up to go ---- in the next few turns. Alright. Well, maybe not, because Fevered Visions can hit Nissa. Yeah, missing that land drop was kind of huge for being against Fevered Visions. We want to just dump out our hand as fast as possible, and that sort of set us behind a whole turn. Alright. So more stuff. Alright, opponent has a lot of cards. So here I'm just gonna play as much as I can and minus the Nissa, and we'll prioritize the Grimflare over the second Walking Ballista. And another Nissa is completely pretty good. Grimflare could help us with our draws, and find good stuff to cast through Fevered Visions, although like there's not that much super cheap stuff our deck can cast, and things like the Center's Deliverance are gonna be like clogging our hand, since there isn't really anything to kill on the other side. And paying a mana to cycle isn't like not what we want to be doing when we're on 4 lands drawing 1,000,000 cards every turn. By 1,000,000 I mean 2. Alright, so our opponent can like bring back Skitchwing Scab at the worst. Okay. Well, untap land is fine. So we still just want to keep dumping our hand as fast as possible and putting up as much of a board as possible. Alright, and now we've assembled kind of a clock, a bit of a clock, although we can expect to be getting Kozilek's returned here soon. And this actually hit, which is very, very good, considering that our opponent is now at virtually 1. Alright, so Liliana minus bring back Walking Ballista is now lethal, even if our board somehow disappears. So I don't want the Constrictor. I mean, the Cletus in theory is great, but it shouldn't matter. But we'll just take it anyways, I suppose. Alright, so presumably our opponent probably should have done something. Should have returned this, I would imagine. And like used it to bring out Elder Deep Fiend? Okay, he didn't want to lose his prized amalgams or something. Or something. So in theory we have lethal. Jeez. I mean, our opponent doesn't want us to untap because then we can put counters on the Ballista. Alright, so we have to do this immediately, which is nice because otherwise they could just lock us down with Elder Deep Fiends the rest of the game, which they might have been able to do if they had another blue source. Or anyways, all right. So we have to see if they have any other way to stop us here. At 1, Liliana for Walking Ballista. Seems good. Just the way it was intended. Didn't get censored. That would have been awkward. Maybe I should have kept the untapped land for that, although them having censor would be kind of strange. So have lots of options, although not much is that amazing. Like Transgress is amazing. Cletus is obviously amazing here. Liliana is not that amazing, but fine. Like, we want to keep our curve low if possible to beat Fevered Visions. Yaheen's is actually completely fine, I would say, because it clears out prized amalgams and Skitchwing Scabs and Scrap Heap Scroungers and what have you. So on the draw, it's probably pretty good. Like, Gonti is probably not making the cut, I would say, especially on the draw. And Ob Nixilis doesn't seem that great either. The question is, do we want any fatal pushes? Or perhaps just Never Return? Never Return can exile cards, which is nice, but fatal push is cheap, which is also nice. Maybe no Liliana's. Liliana's actually nice, just if the game isn't about fevered visions, Liliana can be a nice bit of value. But I think I'll just go for focusing on staying low to the ground. I think makes a lot of sense, just because fevered visions is so good. We want to just be able to play out our synergistic cards, and we don't really need to worry about the planeswalkers as much and getting value from them, I would say. On the play, it would be better though to have like Liliana, just because we could cast it turn 3 and our opponent fevered visions, and then we're already like well on our way to being able to dump our hand. Alright, opponent mulligans to 6 again, and we will keep again. So Kalidas Yaheen's, if we could set that up, would be amazing in a lot of situations. And right now lands would be good, basically. Transgress seems fantastic though. Alright, perfect draw. So the question is, do we want to Grimflare or Transgress? Probably just Transgress. See what's up. I mean, we might be able to snag like a Fevered Visions if we want. Yeah, because look at how terrible our opponent's hand. The only way they're winning this game is through Fevered Visions, so that's certainly what we're going to take. Like, they can't do anything if we play nothing. So yeah, definitely just go ahead and take that. I mean, who even cares if they return one of these guys at this point, because they... oh, never mind. Never mind, carry on. There's the Fevered Visions. Nothing to see here. So Tracker or Grimflare, because yeah, we're gonna have to be playing stuff out. Tracker is more mana efficient. I mean, the clues don't really matter that much, so probably even just Grimflare is better in a lot of ways, if it's a 4/4 especially, since the clues aren't going to matter. So yeah, if this gets Lightning Axe, that's fine, and if it doesn't, that's fine as well. I mean, at this point, our opponent doesn't really have much good to discard or anything to bring back as far as we know. Alright, missing a land there is not what we want to be doing. I'm just going to Tracker again, because now we can go Grimflare, Ballista if we draw an untapped land, or just Kalidas. Alright, taking a bit of damage, but we find a land, so that's perfect. Alright, so just discarding advanced swings is not so good, I would say. This implies our opponent might have Elder Deep Fiend though, or they just would like to attack us. Yeah, we are getting a little bit low here. So we could Ballista, Ping, or Kalidas set up for Yaheen's next turn. Like, presumably our opponent is just trying to kill us with these random flyers. So yeah, I think Kalidas, we take a lot of damage, but then we hopefully are able to turn it around next turn. Although there's a huge chance our opponent is just able to kill our Kalidas and disrupt our plan. But I think that's what we have to do. We almost have Delirium as well for Ishkana. The thing is, we need some life gain going, because Fevered Visions is doing us damage as well. Alright, so Advanced Stitchwing. Hopefully, I mean, if they don't have a way to deal with Kalidas, we're just gonna win. Or Elder Deep Fiend. Okay. Okay. I mean, unfortunately, you can't actually cast Never Return off Yaheen's expertise. Otherwise, that would be great. Be able to kill both those, get 2 zombies. And also casting Ballista off of expertise is not that great either. Honestly, untapped land would be the best, so we could go Never and Walking Ballista and kill both his guys. These bloomin' marshes. Alright, opponent might be Fiery Tempering our face with off of a Cathartic Reunion or something. This would be nice reason to have the Liliana, is to cast off the Yaheens plus it kill the Advanced Stitchwing. Stitchwing 101 and Advanced Stitchwing. Alright. That is not good? Question mark? At least we get a zombie out of the deal. So still don't have Delirium. Fatal Push is not what we're looking for. So I can attack Yaheen's out Grim Flare. We're in a bit of trouble. Is that the best, or is it better to just never return attack? Probably go for the Yaheen's if our opponent gives it to us. And if not, we'll go for the other option. Alright. Alright, still too many cards in hand. This might be one of the rare situations where we run out Walking Ballista for 0 to enable Delirium for Ishkana. This isn't good though, because we are kind of too far behind to ever get back in it. At just 3 life, anything kills us, including Fevered Visions. Actually, I should have ran out Ballista, since I'm going to be doing that to stop myself from dying to that thing. Alright, none of this does anything. Well, I guess I could have hit Delirium off this. A successful counter to fevered visions. Alright, we're kind of close to not dying to fevered visions almost. I mean, it needs to have 4 or more cards in hand, so potentially we could not be dead technically. Potentially, technically not be dead. Alright, this looks like dead. Yep, that is dead. That is dead. Alright, we're just getting to our low end. Just getting to our low end. Alright, so I mean that game we lost purely because our opponent drew fevered visions at the exact perfect time. So, but what did we learn? What did we learn? What did we learn today? Maybe never return on the play is not what we want. And I mean, Ob would be good in a non-fevered visions game, I would say. I mean, we could just have the Center's Deliverance for the cheap cycle. Or just go full Liliana since it's good with Yaheens. And, like, kind of good. Kind of a hedge between being low casting cost and pretty good in a non-fevered visions game. Yeah, okay. I'm down. And no fatal pushes because it doesn't kill anything. Oh right, no, Liliana kills Skitchwing's Gab too, so it seems very good. And combined with Yaheens, it kills an advanced Skitchwing, or it just slows down the damage from an advanced Skitchwing. So yeah, for sure Liliana. Makes sense. Seems good. So ideally we curve out on lands for once and don't stumble. Stumble, crumble, lay down, and die. Alright. On the play, seems good to me. Turn 3 Nisei. I think I want to traverse immediately here. It's gonna, first of all, be mana efficient. Help enable our future Delirium, and chances are we're not going to be saving it for Delirium, and it thins our deck up just a tiny amount as well. Alright, so this is a hand good against Fevered Visions, I would say, since we actually have lands to play and we're on the play. It's not a good hand in general, though, considering we've drawn lands. But a good start, anyways. I mean, turn 3 Nissa on the play is always going to be pretty good. So I wouldn't actually mind a Fevered Visions that much. I mean, at this point, we're not even like beating Advanced Skitchwing because our hand does nothing. Okay. Yeah, no fevered visions this time. So assume our opponent's bringing that back, hits our Nissa down to 2, then we can minus it next turn. Alright. Temper, just discarded. Alright, so positive side is no prized amalgams. Negative side is we aren't doing that much at the moment. Kozilek's return, we could shoot the advanced Stitchwing. If our opponent leaves up Kozilek's return, we could minus the Nissa, then put on a counter, even if they cast it in response. So if they have Kozilek's return, they probably have to do it now. Alright. Ooh, track. Alright, so the play of playing tracker, then land. I mean, we don't lose the tracker. No, wait, yeah, we do lose the tracker, so we can't really do that. So does the opponent have Kozilek's return? How good is a 4/4 ballista? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for this. And if they do have Kozilek's return, it's honestly not that bad. We have a 4/4 ballista that gets to bash their face. Alright. And then next turn we can potentially empty our hand. So that went okay, actually. I mean, Elder Deep Fiend, our opponent needs another blue 4, but that would clean up our ballista. Okay, so they want to block. I think I start by attacking and let them block. Okay. So now the question is, do I want a Nissa or just pop McClue? So we're always doing this. Actually, another Kozilek's return here. Annoying. So Nissa plus let's Nissa plus. Alright, we successfully emptied our hand almost. Okay. So we only get to shoot for 1 because that had damage on it, but I mean our opponent is just losing to value at this point by a massive margin since they don't have any lands and they don't have any synergies. Alright, they do have a Kozilek's return though. Ew. Oh my. Okay, that's a good card. That's a good card. So could just get a tracker here, or like a Verdurous Gearhulk or Snake or a Walking Ballista. Well, let's just start by doing this and take a look-see. Or an Ishkana actually is pretty good as well. I mean, Ballista is nice with Kalitas because we can shoot things. Tracker's nice because it gives us more gas. Actually, kind of like Tracker here. Just drawing a card seems like the best. Drawing a card and getting a very relevant body seems pretty good. More so than like an 8/8. Alright. This keeps ticking up as well, getting close to our Sphinx's revelation. Not that far away, although our opponent should be able to disrupt it at some point if they're not too busy with the rest of our stuff. I mean, step one for them is to kill this Tireless Tracker somehow with another Temper or Kozilek's Return or Lightning Axe. Alright, they have failed step one, and we have drawn Divination. Alright. Track attack. Cracking the clues here actually seems pretty good. So our opponent is probably advanced stitching. I mean, we don't even really need to expose our Kalitas at this point. And we can get Tireless Tracker out of Kozilek's return range this turn as well, which is pretty good. Ooh, okay. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. Alright, it does a lot of damage. Trackers doesn't die to... Oh, right, there's two Kozilek's return, so yeah, Tracker still dies. But we're doing a lot of damage and have good backup. The first Kozilek's return doesn't kill it, though. And, of course, our opponent needs to either draw a blue source or have the other Eldrazi. Alright, so maybe should have played out Kalitas in retrospect, considering there's two Kozilek's returns. Although, this is fine as well. Okay. So we can strongly assume there is an Elder Deep Fiend in our future. Elder Deep Friend. So I think we just go to attacks. I mean, Constrictor is lethal. So yeah. I mean, if our opponent just lightning axes, it's pretty bad for them. Okay. Alright, so they'll have to use both returns there goes the lands. Okay, Ishkana's seems reasonable. Alright, reveals Elder Deep Fiend. Alright, well, I have some bad news. And his name is Kalidas, the traitor of Get. So now every Elder Deep Fiend gives me a zombie if he wants to emerge, and our opponent's still on a measly 3 lands. Yeah, we're just we kind of have too many resources at this point. Yeah, our opponent can't even beat the Kalidas, let alone all this. Snake, Ishkana, Nissa, minus, giant board, boom, bam, wham.